passport bros who are just coming here for, say, like sex tourism. They just want to leave Medellin kind of like a used condom, if you will. Not exactly where I'm at in life. Like I'm actually looking for like a long-term relationship, something stable and consistent, eventually like a life partner. For me, at least, it has been complicated.
What's up, everybody? This is Andrew from the Medellin Buzz, and we're back with another interview. Today we are interviewing Shane. What's up, Shane? How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Shane, tell us, where are you from?
I'm actually from California, from a tiny little town in the middle of nowhere. Probably haven't heard of it, but also lived in San Diego, California for a long time. Lived in Tijuana, Mexico, lived in Oregon, Texas, Puerto Rico, and now Medellin.
All right, cool. How long have you been living in Medellin?
2 years.
Where in Medellin are you living?
So if you guys know where Segundo Parque is at, I actually live really close to there.
In Laureles.
Yep, that's right.
Shane, why did you move to Medellin?
I mean, why not? I mean, have you or anyone else ever seen like another city like this? Because literally ever since the first time I came here, which was about 7 years ago, I absolutely fell in love with the place. I mean, it feels like living inside of a painting because like depending on where you're at, you see this like 360 degree panoramic view being surrounded by mountains with these very mysterious, mystical, low-hanging clouds. I mean, super exciting city because everything that I've ever like looked for is here.
Tell me about Laureles. You said that you live in Laureles near Segundo Parque.
I might be biased, but coolest, best neighborhood in like all of Medellin. Like as soon as I walk out of the building, I mean, there's like so many like restaurant options.
Yeah.
So close to everything, but yet far enough away that there's not a whole lot of like traffic noise and like a perfect location.
Yeah. You might be biased, but if you didn't know, it was voted the coolest neighborhood in the entire world by one survey. So it is a great place. I love Laureles. Why did you prefer that neighborhood?
Well, so although Poblado is where we're at right now, although this is like a very popular neighborhood, it's not my personal favorite neighborhood because, for example, here, a lot of tourists, a lot of, depending on where you're going, there's a lot of like vices, which isn't exactly my cup of tea. Laureles, it's a lot more quiet, tranquil. It's more of like a family neighborhood and a lot more peace, much more tranquil. And I don't see nearly as many gringos. And for me, it's actually a plus.
The other question that I wanted to ask you is cost of living. How would you compare it to the United States, where you've been, Puerto Rico, and here?
All in all, I mean, for the most part, the cost of living is obviously like a lot lower. More or less, on average, I'd say whatever you might be spending, say, in like the US or Puerto Rico, living here, like divide that by 4.
I think that's a good way to gauge it. I feel the same way. I feel that it's about a third or a fourth, depending on, it could be even a fifth if you're living in a very expensive neighborhood or an expensive city. The next question that I wanted to ask you is, what are you doing for a living out here? How are you supporting yourself?
So, I mean, I've been working in like the sales world for a while. I've been closing for like the past couple years. A couple months ago, fortunately, I was actually laid off, which is actually a blessing in disguise because it's pushed me to finally like start my own business, because if I could sell someone else's BS, I might as well just make my own thing so that I could sell that. You know, I put together like a little like co-living space. It's actually called like the Warrior House. So basically the concept is you could call like part entrepreneur home, part high performance home. The only people that I invite into the home are people who are, say, some form of like an entrepreneur or work in sales, people that want to like focus on like personal development. One of my favorite quotes, show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And I have a ton of questions about the Warrior House and your experience building that. But let's get on to the next question. All right, Shane, big question. What are some of the pros of living in Medellin?
Some of the pros, weather. I mean, the weather really doesn't change very much. If we were to get a little scientific, it's almost like this is the Goldilocks zone. So let's be close to the equator. Seasons don't really change. Obviously, cost of living is going to be a lot better. So if you are earning dollars and spending pesos, that definitely helps out a lot. Some of the most beautiful women you will ever see in your life. Enough said. I mean, it's just a city that literally has everything in like one little bowl. Motorcycle taxis. You know, if I'm in a hurry, I need to get from like one neighborhood to the other and it's rush hour and it's gonna take 40 minutes in like an Uber. I hop on a motorcycle taxi and they're zipping around cars like a madman and living life, and I'm getting to where I need to go in like 18 minutes flat.
What are some of the cons of living in Medellin? Hey guys, I've been living full-time in Medellin since 2010, and I've got 3 solutions for you. Number 1, if you're a tourist, it doesn't matter if it's a first-time visit or a repeat visit, check out the Medellin Made Easy course. It's the most complete guide for a short-term visit. It'll make your visit awesome. It's got my top restaurants, my top tours, things to do in the city and the surrounding area, and important things like requirements for entry, where to stay, and safety tips. Number 2 is the Medellin Masterclass. If you're looking to relocate to Medellin, it's the only course of its kind online. It's for people that are serious about moving to Medellin, whether it's part-time or full-time. You'll learn everything from your visa options, taxes in Colombia, to how to buy a property. On top of that, you get access to our private community of people that have taken the course that are either living here now or preparing to move here so you can network. And number 3, if you're looking for an apartment, my real estate company can help you find it. There's a link to a form in the description below. You fill it out and we start working for you. Now back to the video.
Yeah, some of the cons, anything that you would need to do that involves, say, maybe like a government agency, government website, holy shit. Like, all of your pistons of patience are going to be firing at maximum because, for example, like when I needed to get a visa, all I needed to do is just make a payment. Dear Mr. Colombian government, I just want to give you my money, but I can't because the website's not working. And I try a different day, the website's not working. Businesses make it so difficult for me to give them my money. Take my money, que penen por usted.
Yeah. Any other cons that you can think of?
So many people just don't pay attention because I notice so many times, like if I'm walking across the road or if I'm like cycling, and when I'm cycling, I'm going like it's like the end of the world. It's like everyone get out of the way, and people are just like crossing the road, not paying attention. So many times I'm like walking on the sidewalk and there's 3 girls like with their arms linked
Side by
together
side,
like
yeah.
this, creating like a wall of bodies. They don't stop, they don't try to go around. I'm like, but I mean, that's not just like a one-time thing. It's like so many people just don't pay attention. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is going on?
I don't know. I'm not a sociologist or a psychologist, so I don't know why that is, but it's so true. You mentioned some of the most beautiful women in the world. What has dating been like for you here?
I mean, Medellin has like the reputation of like having like a lot of like passport bros who are just coming in for, say, like sex tourism. They just want to leave Medellin kind of like a used condom, if you will. Not exactly where I'm at in life. Like I'm actually looking for like a long-term relationship, something stable and consistent, eventually like a life partner. For me, at least, it has been complicated. I mean, where do I start? Like, I mean, I've gone on like many dates, and from my experiences here in Medellin and just from dating in general, I've come to the conclusion that I really need to find like a woman who comes from a good family.
Okay.
You know, has her mom, has her dad in her life, especially like in childhood. Because if not to judge, but it creates like a lot of like complications, creates people who are not like the most emotionally available, jealousy, creates all sorts of different things, which I found is not the healthiest thing for any sort of like a long-term relationship. And although that's a very simple concept,
Yeah.
to find someone who comes from like, who's been raised from like a good, stable family here in Medellin, that has been very difficult because there's like
Interesting.
a lot of people who come from, say, like broken families, like a single parent home. And
That's very interesting that you say that, because I did make another video where I looked up the stats on single motherhood around the world, and Colombia is one of the leaders in single mothers, or at least children being born out of wedlock. It does bring an interesting point, a good perspective onto what the dating culture is like here. So I presume that you're still single right now?
I mean, you're not trying to ask me out, are you? Well,
You
buddy.
never know. I have a baby, and I'm tired of women now, so I'm just kidding. So last question about dating is how do you meet women out here?
For me personally, it's been a mixture of 2 things. I've used like online dating. I've used Bumble, that's my personal preference, as well as like cold approach. So sometimes I may say dedicate maybe like a few hours on a Sunday or something once in a while to go to a mall and just like approach women. But I mean, for me, when I do that, it's not so much like I have to meet a woman, I have to get a contact. For me, at least, it's more like it scares the shit out of me, so I have to do it.
Oh, I like that, man. You're pushing yourself out of the comfort zone.
Yeah. Cold approach for me is like the final frontier. And when I do that, it doesn't really matter so much if it results in a phone number, if it results in anything. It's just like if I see the opportunity, I feel that knot in my stomach, like, oh, should I? And then I do it just by simply doing it. That's actually a win.
All right, let's get on to the next question. All right, next question is about the Warrior House. You mentioned that you're starting this business, or you've started this business out here. How did you come up with this idea, and where is it located?
I mean, at first it was a little bit of an idea out of need, because when I was living at my previous apartment, the owner was like selling the place, so I needed to move. And then I thought that it would be much better for myself and just like other people if I create some sort of like a co-living space. So I wanted to create something where myself and everyone is surrounded by a positive circle of people who are into like personal development, people who are, you know, really wanting to like level themselves up in every aspect of life.
Nice.
You know, not just work, but also like health and fitness. I also set up like an ice bath, and then I also recently set up like a dedicated like content creation room, so that everything is already set up for everyone in the home.
Yeah.
I also include a virtual assistant, a dedicated editor, dedicated chef, a cleaner that comes a couple times a week, a business coach who'd be working with everyone in the home. When someone's living in this home, they're able to focus the most on their business, their brands, and focus on the highest level things as opposed to like the small stuff.
Sounds like a great idea. I wish you all the luck with it. And obviously I will be pushing it here on this channel. If you look in the description, guys, the link is there. You can contact him for the Warrior House.
Me regalo un jugo de guanábana, por favor.
¿Ese qué es? Coco. Two more things I want to ask you are, number one, are you happy here?
Absolutely. Now, of course, I'm definitely a lot happier in Medellin than I ever was, say, like in Los Angeles, San Diego, Puerto Rico, or like other places that I've lived. However, I mean, I can't say things are like 100% perfect, but
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter where you are, where you move to, like, you know, things will never be perfect. There's always going to be challenges.
The next question is, what would you tell someone that is thinking about maybe exploring Medellin or living in Medellin?
Just do it. In my case, the first time I came here was like 2017, and then ever since then, it was just like a thought, a dream in the back of my mind, until I finally just did it. And when I came, I didn't have anything figured out. I just showed up with like 3 suitcases. I just got to a point where I was just like, fuck it, that's what I want to do. I'm just gonna do it. So my advice is, things will never be perfect. You'll never have it all figured out. You just gotta do it and then figure it out.
Shane, you were an amazing guest. Thank you so much for being on. Cheers.
Absolutely. Salud.
Salud.